Hello, guys. So let's start the session. As all of you know, this is going to be a CAF workshop for all the new parents who are basically going to be sending their kids to the secondary school next year. And we all are here to understand the CAF process. What is it all about? What is the step-by-step guide? How do we fill it? What are the different strategies which we use to basically select the targeted school, and what is the appeal process, and what is the wait list? Like in some cases, if let's say the kids doesn't get the preferred schools, then how the parents will basically approach the different counties, and how the wait list will work just in case if they miss the seats in the target schools. And then we are going to be talking about the common FAQs. And in the end, there are plenty of questions which the parents have filled in the workshop form, which we are going to be covering. And then there will be a Q&A session. We will try to answer as much as possible in our limited time, because there were plenty of questions. So what we did, we just collated most of them together and try to answer as much as possible. But in the end, we will take the parents' question which were not answered during the workshop. So let's start from the CAF introduction. So we have got, let me first introduce, there are quite a lot of experienced parents which have joined us. The first one is going to be the Sheena Agar. She is a famous author. She runs a lot of charity and help our kids to basically make them prepare for the English, especially comprehension, which helps a lot, and creative writing as well. So we are honored to basically have her in the workshop. And then we have a lot of parents, like from Orpington, we have got Rahul. Rahul's son is going in St. Olaf, so he will give you a lot of insight about the Kent and the St. Olaf things. And then we have got the parents from QE, we have got the parents from HBS, we have got the parents from Slough, Sutton. So we try to basically include as many as parents in the workshop, so that if you have got the questions related to different counties, let's say you are targeting Baxley or you are targeting Slough, then at least we have some experienced parents which can give you the correct guidance, and then you follow that step. Rest, we always advise every single parent to just do their research, because it might be possible that year-to-year basis, the admission policies get changed, the catchment criteria get changed, the cutoff marks gets changed. So it's impossible for all the parents to keep track of all of those latest updates. So it is advisable for every parent to just do their research as well. So let's start with Sheena. So many parents. I don't know whether I can search based on the Zoom, or it's not possible.
Hi, thanks. You've unmuted me now. Can you hear me, guys?
Awesome. Yeah.
Can you? Yeah. Okay. Cool. And are these my slides?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
okay.
So this is the third slide we have got. Let me go back. Yeah. Yes. So this is your slide, Sheena.
Okay. So guys, I'm pretty sure. So both of my children went to grammar school. One is still there. Now, I'm sure that there'll be some parents on this call that are much more informed about me in terms of filling common application forms in for multiple schools. Okay, so the information that I'm going to share with you is what's on the slides, and also kind of what I know, but I'm not an expert on this. And as you've already been told, irrespective of what you read or see or hear on the internet, always go to the horse's mouth, always go to your target council's website, or if in doubt, the school, because things change and they're the people that really know, although I know some of you parents are really expert. So as the form says, the common application form is a standardized form. It's used by authorities in the UK to make sure that school admissions are processed easily. Now, I have read and heard something anecdotally via a Facebook group this week that I found really concerning. So don't rule this out if you're in doubt. A parent didn't get their first choice of school, even though they met all the criteria in their time. And what had happened was there'd been an administration mistake, and their new address had not been updated. So if you know you're in catchment and you know that your child, or you think that your child should get a place and doesn't, just check, okay? Just check that they've got the right address. Just make sure. So that's just a bit of advice that I picked up this week that really made me think, oh, you know, that's worth thinking about. Now, I know it's difficult when you don't know your scores. So you've just got to put your school down anyway. Okay, so the standardized information, okay, that makes sure that all the schools receive all the consistent data. But like I've just said, errors can be made. So make sure if you think, you know, that something's gone wrong, put your hand up and say something. Okay, I see over and over again at this time of year, people asking which school they should put first. If your child meets the criteria, okay, the criteria, so that could be catchment. I know some schools don't have catchment, but there are other criteria perhaps. If they meet the criteria and they've passed the test and you want them to go to that school, you need to put it first on your CAF, okay? If that's your first choice. So that's the most important thing. And just before we move, I don't know if you've got this on the second slide there about the equal preference system. Is that on the next slide? Because some people, maybe we want to go to the next slide.
Yeah, I'm going. Yes.
Okay. So here you've got informed choices first. So that means you can rank your preferences, okay? Which, you know, you need to put your first preference first, your second and your third, okay? And that enables fairness. Obviously, you need to avoid discrepancies, and you can see that it allows schools to verify the data. What I would like to say is your form works on what's called an equal preference system, and all schools that you list on the application form are considered equally, okay? So regardless of their order on your list, what that means is, okay, if you don't get your first one, then you should get your second one, okay? Or your third one, so long as you meet the criteria, okay? And you can put more than one grammar school on your list. However, again, you need to check, because if you live, for instance, in Manchester, but your child has passed for QE, where there's no catchment, for Colleton, where there's no catchment, and for, say, Colchester Girls, there's no catchment, then you may be able to put all those schools on one CAF, but you also may not be able to. So you might have to write various CAFs, okay? But again, per that CAF, you need to put your first choice. So what I'm saying is, if you live in Manchester, you might want to apply to grammar schools in Manchester, QE, Colleton, which is in Devon, but you might need different CAFs, okay? You might be able to apply via your council, but it might be a different CAF. Again, you'll have to look for that. So that's really important to know. So I'm not sure if there's anything else I can add at this moment, but I'm really happy to come back. I don't know if there's another slide, but I'm really happy to come back and answer any questions that I can at the end. And even if it's not CAF related, then you can ask me anything that you like. But there was a question about a lady in London, lived in London, and her child passed for Colleton Grammar, which is in Devon. She tried to put that on her CAF in London, and Colleton Grammar wasn't listed there. Okay, so this is when you might have to go to that council and ask them for a CAF. Okay, and obviously you've got to fill your CAF in. There's a deadline. Okay, it's got to be filled in by then, otherwise you've missed the deadline. I'm not sure, guys, if there's anything else you want me to add there, or wait until the questions.
I think that's a great start, Sheena. Really appreciate it.
Okay, my pleasure.
Yeah. So this was more about the CAF. So we have got bunch of other slides for every parent, and
Okay.
then yeah. So let's go through, and there is a Q&A session in the end where we will take all the questions from the parents, and then whatever we can answer, we will answer. Otherwise, if something is not
Okay.
because of the time limit, we will just get back to that particular parent and provide the FAQ guide, which might help
Okay,
them.
sorry if I've jumped the gun a little bit there then. And my
That's
apologies for that.
Okay. So the next one is it's more about how the CAF fits into the whole school selection and admission process. Do we have Sapna in the call? So anybody, like everyone, Sapna is again a very experienced parent. Her child is going into Townley grammar at the minute, and like she was always very, very enthusiastic about the 11+ journey. It was a pleasure to have parents like her always. So Sapna, I think Sapna hasn't joined us yet. That's fine. So I can take care of this slide. Sapna is not here. So let me, sorry, if I'm clicking, then the slide is also moving. Right. So if I just talk about the CAF, so there are normally 6 phases. We talk about how the schools are selected by the parents and what is the overall admission process. So the first thing every parent starts with is the research. Like they normally, as soon as their kid is ready for the secondary schools, they start searching for the good either grammar schools, comprehensive schools, or independent schools. And based on that research, they basically make a decision, right? So what kind of research they normally do? So a lot of parents think about the gentry. A lot of parents think about the facilities the schools are providing. What is the culture? What kind of results are being offered by the schools in the past? So it could be the GCSE result, it could be A-level result, or it could be like how many kids basically went out to top UK universities, or let's say US universities after the schooling. So these kind of like different points most of the parents consider. The second thing, once they basically are informed and they made their decision, they start with the CAF, which is like Sheena just talked about. So what is CAF? We already know it's a common application framework which is used by 90% of the UK schools, where all the parents provide their details, their kids' details, their county's details, and there's some personal details which the council might ask, or it basically depend on their local CAF forms. And specifically, there is a deadline of 31st October every year to fill the CAF. Once you fill the CAF with all the required information, then you basically submit it to the local authority. So if, let's say, I'm living in East London, let's say, so there is a Redbridge Council, so I need to go on the Redbridge Council and then submit the CAF locally. So there is a catch there, which most of the parents have asked in the past as well. So some of the council provide you 6 options, some of the counties provide you 5, or some of them provide lesser than that. So depend of each county, they provide different number of schools in the CAF form. So always make sure that you understand it, and accordingly you just fill the CAF, right? So let's go to the next slide. Right. Once the CAF is filled, right, then the local authorities basically take all the data and then they start processing it based on the preferences of schools which you have filled in the CAF. So as Sheena also mentioned, that there are a couple of schools which you can provide in the CAF. So it is very, very important that you maintain the order of those schools. If you don't maintain the order according to your preference, then you might not get your preferred school. So let's say if I'm a QE parent and I basically fill Wilson first, then if my son scored Wilson required marks, then he's going to get Wilson. He won't get QE. So you need to always weigh in all the options and then make sure that you fill the schools in the correct order. Once the allocations, let's say the councils process all this data, schools took the data, and then based on the local PAN, which was like the allocated seats they have got, they start allocating the seats to different students who have filled the CAF, and their school's name is in their preferred list. There might be different points which Sheena also talked about, like it could be catchment area, it could be pupil premium and other special conditions, and it could be inside like different options which we will cover in the Q&A section. So that will help you to understand how the places are allocated basically. So once the places are allocated, then there is the offer day, which is like 1st of March every year, and all the parents normally receive the placement offer in the email. They will be informed whether they get their first choice, second choice, or etc. And then after that, there is a time period which you need to basically you will have whether you want to accept that particular offered place or you want to basically reject it. If you reject and go for the appeal process, then we will also cover that later, like how are we gonna do the appeal process. Yeah. Next is step-by-step guide to filling the CAF. Rohit from Orpington, I think this one is yours. So can you take care of that, sir? Orpington. Anyone from admin team, can you unmute Rohit?
Yes, Gaurav, this is Pooja on behalf of Rohit.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
So can we go back to the first
Yes,
slide?
I'm on the screen, yes.
Yeah. So as part of the process, we would all know by now, we have to get the CAF available from your local authority. Usually it's an online form. You can go to eadmissions.org.uk and register yourself. They will need some address proofs and the lot, but I think everyone here should have done that by now. Now, as your local authority would have selection criteria clearly defined as to what you need to do to fill the form and what is the various schools' selection criteria, you can go to the websites and have a look. Read the instructions very carefully before you're filling the form, because a slight error or a slight misinformation can be really bad for even after the positions are allocated for that matter. So step 3 would be to fill in your personal details, the full name, your address, date of birth, your current school. And there are some cases where you might need to provide proofs for EHCP or SEN. So make sure that you have those details with you when you're filling the form, followed by the most important, school preferences. Other people have already said you need to actually be very sure of what you put in various places, which school you put in various places, because that will determine where your child ends up going to. You have to qualify, you have to be sure you want to, and then there are special considerations like if you're in the catchment, there are certain schools which need catchments, there are certain schools which are open for all. But you have to make sure that you have your priorities set before you start filling the form. Can we go to the next slide, please, Gaurav? Now, this is very important. Reasons for each preference. It's always good, like when I did it for my son, I wrote down what all marks were there. It was a good notebook where I wrote down what school, what was the criteria, and how much marks he got, and then verified it against the school's websites. Then I as well tried to find if there are any reappeal conditions for those schools, like or catchment area, like Redbridge allows only people from Redbridge, whereas St. Olave's is an open school. It will allow people as far as they can ensure that their kids come in. There are things like sibling information. Certain schools prefer or give preference to siblings. Like if the elder one is already in the school, you need to give the name and probably submit a proof that you are the parents of both kids, and you get a preferential treatment, maybe. Then there are certain information like SIF. There are certain schools which require additional forms to be submitted. Faith schools, for example, they always need such information to where you're registered and the lot. And finally, before submitting, and I mean, don't postpone it for the last moment. Don't think that you'll submit only on the 31st. Proofread, check, save the data again and again. I mean, you can save it as many times as you want. It will let you save and submit as well, but make sure that you have the data saved before the deadline. Always do not please leave it for the last moment. Can we go to the next slide? Yeah, submission. So some local authorities need forms to be submitted online, whereas some might need a hard copy. Ensure that you have a copy of it. Save all the data with yourself, like the schools would send emails with the marks, all the grammar school selection processes. Some schools, they send hard copies, like Latimer and St. Olave's. And keep them till at least 1st of March. Always, always, always ensure that if there is a chance where the data might not be there, you might not get selected as per your analysis, there's always a reappeal thing. So after 1st of March, you can reappeal and check, basically call the schools and verify that the information that is shared with them is right. Gaurav, this slide is done.
Thank you, Pooja. So for me, Pooja and Rohit were always the inspiration. They guided us a lot because when we were in our 11th plus journey, they also helped us a lot. And only because of parents like Pooja, our son also could got the top schools which we were looking to send our kid. So that's very nice. Thank you, Pooja. So there is a catch here, guys, which you need to understand. So a lot of parents normally ask these questions whether if, let's say, we have submitted the CAF form, right? And some of the details we want to update. Let's say if I moved my home address. So for example, if I'm talking about Kent, right? A lot of schools basically give you the flexibility to update the information up to 8th of December. So you need to make sure you always talk to the council. You have the proofs of those communication with you. And if there is any problem during the seat allocation, you can use those proofs to make sure that the appeal process gets stronger evidences. So there will be a more chances for you to fight with the system and get the seats allocated, which you are basically preferred for or you want to have. There is always a tip here. So it's a small tip, I think, which we found very helpful with most of the parents. Like always try to attend the open days. Always keep an eye on the open days of different schools which are in your preferred list. They always publish this data on the website. Speak to the current parents, speak to your friends, families, whoever is sending the kids to different grammar schools, to understand the specific criteria which are either set by the LAs or either set by the schools. So that will help you a lot, and you will be much more informed about your choices. So that's a small tip. I think it could be helpful to you. So the next one is I don't know, my system is a little bit slow. So school selection strategies. I think this is Vikas slide, I think. Vikas, sir?
Yeah, you can hear me, yeah.
Yes, so Vikas, just a little bit about Vikas is one of the, again, very experienced parent. Her daughter just finished HBS and going to the uni. So thank you, Vikas sir, for giving your time.
All right, thanks, Gaurav. Pleasure to be here. Quite a big attendance. So just to cover like school selection strategies, right? Not going to tell anything special about it here. You guys probably already aware of it, but it's good to revisit it. Sometimes we ignore some of these points, and then it may or may not work for your kids, and you pick your top preferences, right? So first and the most important is kid. Assess their need, find their interest, what they how they learn, what are their academic and extracurricular interests are. Use that to make a school selection because each schools offer different permutation and combinations you might want to look for. Then define your priorities, like when you picking your selection or order priority in the CAF, see what priorities you personally would prefer for your kid or your kid would like to prefer. Is it the culture of the school apart from academic program? Definitely. Or is it like you want it to be close to home? Because travel could be quite a big factor, or it could be extracurricular opportunities available within the school. Because it's, as I said, it's not all about academic. We have to look at your overall kids' growth. Uh, then also research multiple schools. So don't just go by, okay, this school is close to me, or I heard this school is really good. So you'll be surprised, like every school is good. Sometimes the teachers are really good in the schools, and that's where it's very important to listen to like parents online, search what students and parents in the school talk about it. That will help you making a choice. So don't eliminate any school thinking, oh, I heard it, it's not good. I would say all schools are good. That's my personal experience. Uh, Also go to the open schools, sorry, open days on the school. Very important. You will get a genuine feel. You'll get to speak to the existing students there. You can also get to meet the teachers and take your kids along with you. Must do. Don't just go on your own. Make sure your daughter or son is with you. So, yeah, Gaurav, can we move to the next one, please? Then again, as you've been told, like make sure you read the CAF. I would say also go to the school's website and read about their academic programs. See what all they are offering in terms of academic. Not all schools offer all the subjects, and sometimes the choices varies as well. Look at their any special program they offer. Like for example, some schools are involved in robotics as an extended program in extracurricular activities. Some are very much involved in some other kind of design, drama, arts, which your kids might want to be part of it. So look at what other academic programs are available, which you can be part of. Read about school history, philosophy, and any other support they provide you or can provide the kids during their school times. I think somebody already covered. When you're looking for special needs, you need to make sure those kind of needs can be supported by the schools. Read the schools brochures as well. And on their websites. Then logistics is very important, right? This is, I think this is my personal favorite. I emphasize a lot on it. So I take 1 hour, and you might think, oh, it's fine. My son or daughter can take a share cab, or there's a bus service, and it takes like an hour and a half to get, or they can come back by tube, whatever your transportation is. But it takes like 2-3 hours of their precious time away. And also, there are a lot of after school programs, a school run, or sometimes there are clubs which are running before school starts. So if your children are traveling a bit too far, then they are missing on those after school programs. So those logistics you might want to consider. So that's why I'm very emphasizing when you go to school, find out what other clubs and extracurricular programs they have uh, that can help with the overall growth. And then, yeah, the last, again, it's all about future growth. Uh, Talk to the students there, see how they're growing. See schools are providing facilities. A lot of schools are investing into building new libraries, new computer systems. And all of these will help you understand how a school is going forward, and that you can get a bit more sense when you go to the open days. I'm not telling anything new here, but very, very important things. Just do it as many as time you want. List down your choices and evaluate each of your preferred school against your priorities and your preferred choice. Yeah, thanks, Gaurav.
Thank you, Vikash. Really appreciate. So again, these are, I think, as a parent tip, we really found all these points very helpful in our secondary journey. So I think it might be helpful to you guys as well. So by focusing on all these core strategies, I think as a parent, you will be more informed about the different choices. You will be more clear about your preferred schools, what your kid want, and then take it forward accordingly. It's all about stay updated and take it further according to your kid's choice, because you know your kid better than anybody else. So the next one is the wait list. Himanshu, do we have Himanshu here? In the team? I think we are missing Himanshu. Okay, so let me cover it. So this is a waiting list, which most of the parents have heard about. So what is actually wait list? So wait list is a list which is managed and maintained by the schools for the applicants which didn't get the seats, but they have scored enough to be taken or to be considered by the school. So for example, if there are, let's say, 100 seats in school X, and the school X is expecting maybe from the top 100 scores of the student, maybe 20 might drop. So what they will do, I think, yes, we have Himanshu. Admin team, can you unmute Himanshu? I think, let me find out. Sorry, guys. I think Himanshu is here, but nobody unmuted him. We can't find you out, Himanshu. I don't know. Maybe a separate name? Can you see? Okay, let me, because Himanshu has got more slides which he need to cover later. So let HG. Okay. Participants. Okay. Okay, Himanshu, you can take all the questions later. I think I'm not able to find you out, so I will just continue. So this was more about the waiting list. So most of the schools normally maintain the waiting list, and they basically keep the councils updated. So you can go to the schools, you can go to the LAs, your local councils, to find out what is the waiting list going on currently. If you are expecting that the list or the scores might go down, and there is a fair chance of your kid to get the places. So as soon as, like, if you have put a preferred school in the CAF, right, and you are not offered the place in the school, so automatically you are added to that school's waitlist. So this is the automatic process. And then based on the ranking, like the different criteria which are actually applicable in a particular school, whether distance wise or score wise or special condition wise, so you are basically put higher or lower according to different admission criterias. And this ranking always keeps on changing every year. If there is a, let's say, your kid is in the top rank, right, and few of the kids have dropped out that particular school, then as a next priority, you will get, or you will be notified by the school that you are offered a place from the waiting list, and are you happy to accept or decline the offer. And based on that, whether you accept it or decline the offer, that the process just keeps 1 year, couple of months, or couple of years. So it keeps on happening like that. And if you want to have the update on the wait list, is always a like preferred approach to always talk to the school, talk to the council, and find out what is the current status of the wait list. So this was our Oh, sorry. I think I was talking mute. Binod, it's your turn. Let me unmute you. Admin team, can you unmute Binod, please?
You might want to share the screen as well.
Oh, my screen is gone again. Sorry. Yeah, we can. Binod, we can see you. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, let me know when the slides are up.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, so I'll explain about the appeal process. A lot of time happens that the parents are not happy about the outcome and they would like to appeal against the decision that was made by the school. And every child is offered that opportunity. So when you receive the letter, it will be written that you have right to appeal and you can go and actually appeal. There is a formal process, and most of the schools follow a similar kind of process, but it may not be the same in every school. So it will be appropriate to go through the letter what they send or onto the school website or on the council, and they will give you exact process how the appeal will happen. In 99% of the schools, they'll ask you to fill a form about the appeal, and then fill all the details about why do you think that the decision that was made was not correct, because that's what we are appealing it against. There could be multiple reasons. One is that a parent believes that the admission process was not correctly followed, or a misunderstanding or misinterpretation of the information, or probably exceptional personal reason. As a parent, usually if I have to go and appeal, and I have done few of the appeals for some of the parents, because I was governor of the schools, and I was following some of the process and explaining the different parents, saying how you can actually put the form. So your form, actually, you have to fill the form and make sure you go through the rules of the selection criteria of the school, and those selection criteria. If you really think that my child does fit that selection criteria, and for some reason the criteria was not followed, that was the first thing, and that will be the easiest thing to win. But if you think that actually the selection criteria was followed, but there is some circumstances which has changed. For example, some children could be like different category, or like special needs, or their financial circumstances have changed, or they've got siblings in the school that wasn't considered. So there could be multiple reasons. So that on that basis, fill in the form, make sure you reason out properly, because when that form goes to the appeal process, they would not take any new reasons. So you have to be very, very sure what you are trying to provide within the form. Once that form is submitted, then there'll be a hearing process, and there'll be a panel who will sit, and then parents will be called, and you'll get opportunity to present your case. And after that, they'll make the decision based upon whatever was submitted into the form and how well you are presenting your case. And after that, when the decision is made, and if you're still not happy, you can actually go to the primary care authority. I mean, there are different stages. You can take the appeal, and mostly the outcomes are same, but people can actually say, look, I'm not happy about this outcome and I want to appeal against it, or I think the appeal process first hearing was not fair, and this is why I want to appeal it again. Happy to take any questions. Thanks, Gaurav.
There are a few more FAQs.
Yeah, okay.
If you can take Vinod sir, it will be great. Otherwise, I will take it.
Yeah, it's fine. I can take it. So the first question is, can I change my school preferences after submitting the common application form? There is a deadline usually, and most of the councils will give you opportunity. The form will be open until the last date arrives. But if you think there's something which has essentially changed and was out of your control, then maybe you can go and check with council, and then usually what happens is people will be sent into within the waiting list, right? So, for example, if I have changed and said, look, I made school X as my first choice, but I don't want that as first choice. I want my second choice to be first. Can be done, but then you will be put into waiting list if the results are out. This scenario actually changes based upon at what point of time you want to make that change. If you want to make that change when actually the exams hasn't happened, or nothing has happened, you just missed the deadline or something like that, and then it will be easier. But still, it has to go through that council process. But if you think that exam results were declared and then you are making that choice, then probably you'll be put into kind of waiting list of it's a different process. Do I need to apply through the common application form if I want my child to attend a private or independent school? Private schools are completely different. Generally, CAF is followed for the state-run, state-funded schools. Private and independent have their own admission process, and you can basically, when you go and take the private school admission, you accept that offer. It is always advisable to decline the offer into state school if you have made up your mind that I'm going to go to private, because that leaves a place to another child who would be willingly happy to take that place. What if I miss the application deadline? Yeah, late applications will be there, but again, this is more complex form. So usually, if you are aiming for a good school, which every parent would, then you know that if you have missed the deadline, then that means you'll be in the waiting list kind of situation, and you have missed those runs which every parent would like to do. So you wouldn't miss it. I would say usually people are quite serious, and a lot of parents will be talking about all the deadlines. So we used to make a list, and as a parent, when you go through the 11 plus, you'll make a list and say, okay, this is the date, this is the application date, this is the last date, and this is my exam day, this is the open day. So whatever school you choose, make sure that 4 or 5 or 6 details, you put it and stick it into the plan. You would know that these are the dates I have to go for open day, this is the date I have to fill my form, otherwise I'll miss it, because this is one-time chance. Once it's missed, it's missed. What happens if I don't get my first choice of school? Well, so when you local authority, what they do, there are like 2 or 3 rounds of this kind of offering goes. So they always try to put you into the preferred school whenever a place is available. There's a very complex algorithm and process they go through. And when people try to as I said, that one of the example was for example, let's say you did not, or your child or someone's child doesn't get into the first round. Then in the second round, if somebody has decided to take another school and they've left the place, so that's how they do the second round. They say, okay, there are some places, more places are available, and let us put that child in the second round. So most of the councils will make all the effort to give you the best choices available based upon your CAF application. If not, then the appeal process or waiting list. Most of the things, the waiting list. I know a lot of children who were offered places in schools like Kiwi Boys, literally on last day and stuff, because a lot of people would have moved to private and other schools. So there's always an option of waiting list. Do you want to go to next slide, Gaurav?
Yeah. This is the next one.
Okay. So do I have to use CF to apply for a secondary school place? Yeah. So common application form system is actually not only the secondary, primary, secondary, and the similar kind of pattern is followed even for the university as well. So it is, and if you look into the common application form, it just makes a profile, and you'll always get all the details when your children were selected. So my children are now applying for university, and they have to follow the similar pattern, but the choice is reduced, and it gets more complex when you move from primary to secondary to university level. But yes, the common application form is the entry point for state-funded schools. Can I appeal if I am not happy with the school place offered? Yes. So I think that was already answered in the previous slide in the appeal process. Yeah, so if you're not satisfied with the first appeal, you can again appeal against the appeal. It's a similar kind of stuff like when people do in the legal system as well. How do I choose which secondary schools to apply? Right. So people get a lot of different information. A lot of parents will talk about, and a school like Glecta are there to help you out to choose based upon right fit of your child. It's not when you, as a parent, when I went through the school choices, I did not only look for the academic side of it. I looked for the sports side of it and academics and what other offerings school giving. How far is my home? And believe me, it takes a great effort if the child will have to travel a lot. Then they might miss a lot of extracurricular activities and classes that is offered after the school. And when your child will go in the secondary, and there's a lot of time, like my children were in rugby and cricket and the water polo, and they had to go very early in the water to go for the water polo, or they had to go leave late, or they're doing the trainings after school in the rugby trainings. And if they live far, then it takes time for them to reach home, and by that time they're very tired and they can't do the homeworks and stuff. So it's very important to factor in every aspect of the things. Then you'll be able to understand, okay, if my child loves English literature and this particular school has got very good track record of English literature, and then I would go for that, rather than if someone else says my child likes the X school, why you're sending your child to Y school. Because every child is different, and we should make sure that that's fit for the children rather than how others convey the message. Do I need to submit supporting documents with CAF? It's usually it's a normal basic detail of children. Schools will reach out to, or secondary school will reach out to primary, or primary will send actually. When you fit in, then the schools interact with each other, and they'll just get the information. Most of the children, when they are try to give their exams in, I think year 5 or year 6, those details automatically get uploaded, and they will have access to your children and teachers' notes as well. So I don't think that you have to provide anything unless there's some special case and they're asking for some evidences. You can just provide basic details. It's a very simple form.
Yeah, thank you, Vinod. Really appreciate it. So two of the very important points which Vinod basically discussed about is you need to be very, very careful about the commute time. So maybe if the child is in year 7, year 8, and you are living far, you might still somehow manage it. But as soon as the kid goes in GCSE and A level, that is a different ball game. And every single minute matters, guys, there. So whatever you decide, make sure that you discuss those options with your kids, keep them informed, and see whether it is really worth. Because I talked to a couple of parents who lives local, and they want to basically send their kids to, let's say, Colchester, which is like almost more than 1.5 hour journey, and to either Westcliff or Southend, which is again something similar. So it's going to be very, very hectic. And I've seen the cases when the parents normally took out their kid from the grammar schools because of the commute problem. So weigh in all of these options, see whether they are really good or whether they are not good. So you need to basically think about all pros and cons and then decide accordingly. So there is one more slide regarding the common FAQs. We have, I think, Himanshu now.